Hey, good morning and welcome in. It is Mornings in Meridian here on News Talk 102.1 WALT, the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. And I hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday morning, July the 12th, about 9 minutes into the 7 o'clock hour. Who are we? I am Rob. Hope you're having a good one out there this morning, and joined this morning by Charles Frazier.
Oh,
Frazier.
the intro,
Yeah,
yeah.
you like that, don't you?
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, it was average.
Right.
Average at best.
I give it a 5.5
I'll take anything
out of
I can
100.
get.
No, out of 10. But anyway.
How you doing this morning?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing great.
Good.
We have got a very interesting show today. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. What that means.
When I say that, a lot of people go, "Oh boy, what are they up to?"
Yep. I don't even know. So we'll
Well, it is going to be a very interesting show today. I think this is going to kind of be a truth serum show today, I think. And, of course, we're going to have a very special guest on a little after 7:30 this morning, Councilwoman from Ward 5, City Council member Tybell Lindsay is going to be joining the show after 7:30 this morning. And we're going to address the letter that she put out yesterday, a very emotional letter, which we're going to read that coming up here on the air before we get Tybell on a little bit later on to discuss that and her concerns for crime here in the city of Meridian. So that's going to be a big portion of our show today. I think that's the reason I think it's a truth serum show today. Let's just lay all the cards out on the table and go through it. Go through it as usual, because Tybell hits on some very good points in her letter that she put out yesterday. It was via WTOK. She put on her social media page, and we actually shared the letter over on our Facebook page, WALT Talk Radio. You can go scan over it if you have a few moments, but it's out there, and we'll read it here in just a few minutes and kind of get our opinions on it before we get her on a little bit later. And we appreciate her. We're going to have her by phone this morning.
Yeah.
I think she's dealing with some illness there at the house, I believe. I don't want to reveal too much of that, but family's going through a little bit of a health deal. But she agreed to come on with us this morning a little after 7:30, so we do appreciate that.
Definitely looking forward to that.
And, of course, we'll take your phone calls as well, 601-485-9191. Of course, when we were on the show yesterday, we had the breaking news of the body that was found here in Meridian on the side of the road. We gave you that location yesterday, so we'll dive more into that. Also, work session yesterday. Speaking of the city council, they had their work session yesterday. And, Charles, the topic of body cams came up, and it looks like that is going forward. They got to put the bidding process out there, so we'll go over that. So
good stuff. And we talked about that yesterday, actually, before that city council meeting. So, I'm glad that was addressed as well.
So the city of Meridian is under the microscope today, folks, and we'd love to get your take on whatever's on your mind. 601-485-9191. So before we get into that letter, we're going to read from Tybell Lindsay here in just a moment. I want to thank our friends over at Battery One Source. Of course, we're always starting something here at Mornings in Meridian, but if you really want to start something, Battery One Source is the place to go.
It's the only place to go. That's right. 2618 North Frontage Road, conveniently located in between exit 152 and 153. John Dufour and his crew have batteries for every need and description. Watches, remote cell phones, even laptop computers. If your laptop computer doesn't have a battery, you know what it is? It's a desktop. Well, make it a laptop once again. Go see John Dufour, and he'll hook you up. Of course, if your cell phone's broken, best cell phone repair guy in the business right there at 2618 North Frontage Road. And golf cart service and repair. Ooh, if that's not running.
No.
If Rogers ain't running, he goes down there. But if yours isn't running, or Battery One Source, 2618 North Frontage, 693-1500. Of course, he's open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
The letter that we were referencing to was released. It was yesterday afternoon around 1:30, 2 o'clock that Councilwoman from Ward 5, Tybell Lindsay, released. And I'll just be honest with you, Charles. Tybell Lindsay, we've had her on the show here before. She has been very vocal about other issues in the city of Meridian. And folks, before I read this letter, I will just tell you this. Tybell Lindsay loves her hometown. She loves Meridian, and you'll really get a sense of that if you have not read the letter yet. We're going to read it to you here in just a few moments. But, Charles, she has been outspoken on a lot of issues within the city, especially with crime and policing. But this gets pretty pointed right here.
It does, yeah, and I love the kind of the raw emotion and the passion in the letter, and that's really what was kind of refreshing to see. But anyway, go ahead and read it, and we'll talk about it later.
All right, here is the letter from Tybell Lindsay that was released yesterday. It says, "Dear Meridian community, I write to you today with a heavy heart, filled with both frustration and deep sadness. Our beloved town, the place that has shaped me into the person I am today, is facing a significant challenge, one that cannot be ignored. The escalating crime in our community has reached a point where it can no longer be overlooked. It is with profound sadness that I send my condolences to the family, to the victims and their families as they endure the pain caused by these senseless acts. Meridian, you are my home. I was born and raised here, just like my husband and child. My love for this city runs deep, and I have dedicated my life to serving you. As a former flight attendant, I hung up my wings and rolled up my sleeves, determined to give back to the place that made me who I am. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as a councilwoman. I want you to know that I am fighting for you. Recently, I heard the mayor claiming that the city council is hindering the administration by withholding funding. I want to make it clear that this is a poor excuse and 100% false. As a member of the city council, I speak for myself when I say that we will do everything in our power to ensure the administration has the necessary funding and support to carry out their responsibilities. However, we cannot turn a blind eye to the lack of communication and the cries of the citizens being ignored. Allow me to explain the duties of a city council member. One of the responsibilities is to hold the administration accountable for the day-to-day operations of our city. We must not point fingers solely at the legislative branch when it is the executive branch that has control over our everyday lives. It is our duty to demand transparency and effectiveness from the administration, ensuring that they are working in the best interest of our community. I share your anger and frustration. I want more for our city, and that is precisely why I ran for office. However, I've noticed that many individuals in our community are reckless in their actions and statements, often driven by social media clout. We must be mindful of the information we consume, as some people are merely seeking attention and spreading false narratives. Let us not give credence to baseless claims. If you seek answers, let us have an adult conversation. Reach out to me at 601-479-3997. I'm here to listen and address your concerns, but please understand that I will not conduct official business on a platform designed for college kids. It is unprofessional, and as a true product of this community, I refuse to embarrass us with false narratives. I cannot promise to solve every problem overnight, but I pledge to communicate with you more frequently and from the heart. You deserve the truth, and I promise to be transparent with you. I am not a gossip monger, and if you seek a soap opera, there are plenty of other platforms that cater to such entertainment. Raw and real, unapologetically politically incorrect. I love our community more than you can ever know. When you are mad, I am mad. When you are happy, I am happy. I am actively working on ordinances and policies to change the trajectory of our community. That is my job, and I will continue to be your voice and convey your concerns to the administration. It is my honor and pleasure to serve you, Meridian. I love you deeply. May God bless our city and guide us through these trying times. With unwavering dedication, Taisha Tybell Lindsay, Councilwoman of Meridian, Mississippi. That was released yesterday via WTOK, and of course, we shared that over at our WALT Talk Radio Facebook page. So, Charles, a lot of points to the letter. Yeah. Obviously, she starts it out by talking about crime, and enough is enough.
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch the trajectory of her career on the city council, and I think she started out kind of as a rookie, so to speak, and not really. I don't think anybody who's new to the position really don't. They're just kind of getting their feet wet, and I think she had some missteps early on, but boy, she's hitting home with this one. And it's about time that someone addressed the problems. I think that we've. You and I have talked about it with Roger here on the radio frequently, and there hasn't been a whole lot of. Kind of a big response from the city at all about the crime and kind of everything that's going along with that. And this is the first person who represents the city to come forward and say, we've got a major problem. Let's quit ignoring it and let's sweep it in under the rug. This is a concern. It's not, we don't want to justify it by saying every other town in Mississippi or the South has this issue. Yes, they do. So what? This is our town. What are we going to do to make a difference?
And I will say this too, we get on the radio a lot, And folks, we appreciate you listening out there. We appreciate your phone calls. We appreciate the support. But I will say this: when we talk about the city, it's nothing personal.
No,
you know,
of course not.
I really love Jimmy Smith as an individual. I've known him for a long time when he served on the board of supervisors. Got really close with him during his campaign. Worked with him on advertising, and I like Jimmy Smith. And I've gotten to know not many of the city council members. Tybell Lindsay, we've had on the show before, and hopefully we can make that a regular thing. I'd love to have her on once a month, like we have the sheriff on once a month. But we love our community too. We want what's best for our community too. And when you get in leadership positions, criticism, it's the slings and arrows of the job, unfortunately, because I think we all, no matter our political differences, no matter if you're Republican, Democrat, white, black, Native American, whatever it is, we all want what's best for our city. Bottom line, we all want to be safe. We want to have great businesses. We want to have we all want those things. Yeah. But until we all sit down as adults, like she said, have an adult conversation about it instead of pointing fingers and going back and forth politically and continuing to make it a power struggle, then we're just going to be stuck in the mud.
Sure.
I mean, that's just bottom line.
Even worse, go south. And that's certainly not what we want to do. So all right. We don't want to get any worse.
We'll get to the body camera story here in just a moment because Tybell Lindsay is going to be joining us via phone coming up in just over 10 minutes. But let's go to our phone line at 485-9191. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Charles, you said it's time that somebody address the problem. Well, the mindset of many politicians is don't rock the boat. Let me get what I need and want and this. But, there's a time when the boat needs to be rocked.
Yes, sir. And
if ever there was a time, it's time to rock the boat about crime in Meridian. It's beyond time.
Yes, sir.
And it's time to pull out all the stops from buying body cameras, whatever, to calling in the feds, to whatever, to get this thing under control.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, let me know. But that's just my thoughts.
I mean, Jimmy, my whole thing about it is I love Meridian. I mean, I'm from here. I don't live in Meridian, but this is my home. And I want what's best for Meridian, and whatever option that is to get the problem solved, let's put them all on the table, sit in a room, have an adult conversation, using Tybell Lindsay's words, instead of pointing back and forth. Let's just get it done. I don't care how we get it done.
Well, Robbie, I was born and raised in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Meridian is my hometown.
Yep.
I've been involved in many aspects of civic, religious activities in the city of Meridian. I no longer live in Meridian, and one of the reasons is the crime.
Yes, sir.
I still go to Meridian often. I still spend money in Meridian often. It's just, and I love Meridian. Meridian's my hometown.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart to see what's going on in certain aspects, from education to economics to crime, whatever. To see, because that's not the Meridian I grew up in. Now there's some positive things too. Don't let me.
No, absolutely.
Don't let me paint a negative picture on the whole canvas. But it's just some things that and people don't realize the ripple effect of this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it affects the medical field. It affects the business climate, and Charles, I'm sure you're aware of that. And it's just something that needs to be dealt with and dealt with swiftly and taken care of.
Absolutely. Can't agree with you more.
But I think that the major thing is, in order to start solving a problem, you have to recognize the problem. You have to define the problem. And that's what this conversation is starting. And of course, we've been talking about it. But it's about time people in government said, wait a minute, we got a serious problem. Not something like, oh, well, other places have it too. And, that's just the trend across the country.
Yeah.
I don't care about other places.
And
what can we do here to stop it?
And I'm going to go back on what
Preach it, Charles.
And I'm going to go back on what Charles said yesterday. I'm not pointing a dirty finger at the current members of the Meridian Police Department. Those men and women are doing the absolute best job they can with the numbers they have. And I'll give credit where credit's due. They got the bank robber.
Yeah.
You know, they arrested that individual that robbed the 2 banks within a week's time. They got that other 16-year-old that had the robbery and the aggravated assault here recently. So they are investigating and solving crimes. But, folks, the numbers of the staff they have down there rest on the shoulders of the leadership on trying to get more officers on staff.
I agree with you, Rob, but I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
Where was the police chief yesterday at this meeting?
That's a very good question. I know Patrick Gale, the acting assistant chief, was there, but as far as the chief goes, that is a fantastic question. Maybe we'll ask Tybell Lindsay about it when she gets on. She has an answer.
Please do. I would be very interested to hear it, and I think my time is up now. But just mail me a check, would you please?
I'll run it by your house. How
Hey,
about
a
that?
gift
It's in the
certificate
mail.
from Wiseman.
What?
would do.
I'm sorry.
I think you're
my
breaking up
headphones are-
there. You're
yeah,
breaking
exactly.
up there.
Missed that one.
Bye. 601-485-9191. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
Morning.
now.
This is not critical, but you know what the Bible says? You will know them by their works. Now, you can write all the little sweet letters you want to write, but what specifically has she done? Or what specifically is she proposing? Other than bringing the light to the part where the mayor has told some bald-faced lies, you can sit and have all those meetings you want, but what are the specifics of her plan to do anything? And that's not being critical, but what is it? Any one of the council persons could have wrote that letter.
Sure, I agree with that.
But only one
And
did.
so
Yeah.
What is your plan? Why has the mayor is the coach of the team? He's the coach. As far as the police department, the police chief is the quarterback. The quarterback's not moving the team, not getting the job done. If the coach can't get it done in 4 years, he'll be gone. But why has he not replaced the police chief?
That's a fantastic question. I was talking with Charles about this. I remember at one of the previous city council meetings, and we'll probably bring this up with Ty Bell when we have her on the show here in just a minute, but I remember she had made a proposal at one of the meetings that they put the police chief's salary to 0. And, of course, that was never put on the agenda, and that just kind of got flushed at one of the previous meetings. It's probably been a little over 6 to 8 months ago that proposal was put on there. So I think, of course, she's been criticized a lot on social media since her letter yesterday about the vote against Chris Reed when he was replaced as police chief, which that vote went officially 4-1 to not go ahead with him as the police chief when Jimmy Smith took over as mayor. So there is criticisms there, obviously, and I think that's what the missteps that Charles was mentioning earlier probably.
She voted to get rid of Reeves also?
Yeah, there was only one vote to keep Reed, and that was Dr. Thomas.
Yeah.
Well, that was a major mistake. And when you got police officers that have been in on the force 20-plus years telling you that if this person is hired, we're gone, and I forgot what the number was. It quit, early retirement, wouldn't have anything to do with the department, gone. So I don't know. That was a red flag. But, guys, we've been talking about this crime, as I said the other day. We've been talking about it for 35 years on the radio. I have. But until we start punishing these idiots, until they start fearing the punishment of what could happen to them, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Now, I think maybe one avenue we could do is get our dadgum legislatures in Jackson, and I know they have guidelines they have to go by, but to make the punishment stricter. They emptied the cells of prisons and jails over COVID and turned all them people back out of loose. But, the guy that killed the older gentleman at the flower shop that day, he had an ankle bracelet on. But until we maybe get the legislature to enact some laws that will be harsher.
Oop. You still there, Chuck? We lost you. He may hit a bad spot there.
Gotcha.
He'll probably call back. So
Dead zone.
So there you go. 601-485-9191. Reaction coming in about Tybell Lindsay's letter yesterday.
Yeah, and I think Chuck brings up some good points that it is the whole system. It's not just one person. But if one person in the government is kind of saying, wait a minute, we've had enough, then hopefully that can spread and affect some change. And you know, it's not just, we can't just look at the government and say, hey, you guys deal with this problem. It's a problem for all of us, and all of us need to address it in whatever way that we can.
Well, of course, yesterday, I know we got just a minute or two before we get to 7:30 in our Fox News break-in, our interview with Tybell Lindsay from the City Council. Yesterday, they did have a work session regarding the body cameras.
Body cams.
And Council President from Ward 3, Joseph Norwood, spoke to our friends down at WTOK about the meeting and the body cams. This is what he had to say yesterday via their website, WTOK.com.
In today's work session, the police presented us the details information of body cameras, of how much it's going to cost, and how soon that they can get them ordered. And with that, we just asked them to present us a RFP so we can put it out for bid, and they have the funding already in the police department with the drug seize fund, so they already have the money. It's just a matter of us getting 2 bids and finalizing it.
Yeah, under the plan, the department would purchase 80 body cameras and 9 car cameras. The department proposes a 5-year plan costing the department $600,000 for the new camera system. This would cost the department $129,000 the first year and $106,000 in the second year. So it looks like the body camera system is going ahead.
And let's wind that back a little bit. You said 80 cameras?
80 body cameras and nine car cameras.
And how many patrol officers do we have at this point?
That number seems to float around a little bit.
Yeah, but it's never even approached 80. Okay.
Spares.
Backups. All right.
They break.
Well, and I wish we had 80. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
and
that'd be great.
Maybe that's the goal. But, you know, I mean, I don't know why we're buying for anticipated hires maybe 2 years down the road when the technology of these cameras may improve. So
we're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll have Tybell Lindsay via phone here on Mornings of Meridian. Stay close. Well, welcome back to Mornings in Meridian. Of course, online at WALTMeridian.com and on Facebook Live this morning at WALT Talk Radio. Robin Wilson from the Gem Blossoms having a birthday today. He's 58, like the Gem Blossoms.
I do too. Yeah, kind of catchy music.
Good band there.
Yeah.
Also, Olympic gold medalist figure skater Kristi Yamaguchi turning 52 today.
Really? Wow.
52, yeah. So, and Bill Cosby turning 86 today. Jello pudding pops.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
Camille. All right.
Before we get to our next guest via telephone this morning, we need to thank our friends down at Barber & Sons Plumbing. Barber & Sons Plumbing, fantastic folks to do business with. Third generation there on 26th Avenue.
That's right. They've been doing it for over 80 years. You might say they invented indoor plumbing. In fact, I think they did. There's a record of that somewhere.
There you go.
1123 26th Avenue. Give them a call, 601-482-7023. They have literally every plumbing part available. Everything you ever need. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, take a picture of it, bring the part in. Gary will get you going right there, and he'll show you how to do it if you need to. So if you're not sure, of course, they'll come to your home or your business as well and make some repairs. So just give Barber & Sons Plumbing a call, 601-482-7023, or go see them. They got a great showroom at 1123 26th Avenue.
All right, we just read the letter from Councilwoman from Ward 5, Tybell Lindsay, and she's been a big topic of conversation since the letter was released yesterday, and now we have her on the show this morning via telephone. Welcome into the show, Tybell Lindsay from Ward 5 City Council, and appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good morning to you. Well, Tybell, tell us what prompted you to release this letter yesterday?
Well, I wanted to take a moment to address the radio listeners and our entire community regarding the heartfelt letter I recently shared yesterday. The amount of express of gratitude and the overwhelming response and support I have since the publication, I'm just in awe. But the motive behind my letter was simply I wanted to voice my deep concern about the escalating crime in our city and express my sincere condolences to the victims and their families. And as a true product of Meridian, this community holds a special place in my heart, and I'm truly upset about the challenges that we do face.
Well, of course, there was a lot of pointed remarks in the letter, of course, about, the love for your city. And I really wanted to go to that real quick because I think we all have a vested interest in the city of Meridian. We want to see her do well. But Tybell, would you agree that crime is our number one issue that we have to address right now?
Is absolutely our number one issue that we must address at this moment. I mean, even myself, I was actually like a latchkey kid. So I remember walking the streets to go to school, go to the parks, or shopping, or being with my friends and having fun. And now that I'm a mom myself, too, actually still a young child, a 5-year-old, I just feel like she may not, if we continue going down this path, being able to do some of the things that I was afforded as a child. And it's important to me, being a mother, that and a council member, and a leader in this community, that I do everything and exhaust every resource that we could possibly get to make sure that we have a safer community for our constituents.
One portion of that letter you mentioned talking about the mayor's office, and that was basically, I'm just going to read the line here. You're grateful for the opportunity to serve as councilwoman, and I want to let you know that I'm fighting for you. Recently, I heard the mayor claiming that the city council is hindering the administration by withholding funding. I want to make it clear that this is a poor excuse and 100% false. Can you kind of go into that a little bit more?
Well, I have heard him on radio, and actually every moment when he does talk, point fingers at the council that we would do something so absurd as to withhold funding from the police department or any department, to not allow the department heads to do their job. And that is absolutely false. I don't know where he gets that statement from, or maybe that's how he feels. But however, 100%, we would do whatever it takes to make sure that the funding is available for the department. All they have to do is ask for it. Now, do we trust everything maybe that comes from administration? Clearly, we don't. Because if there's some friction there, it's like we're not pretty much on the same page, mainly because of we all have different ideas of how we're going to do things. We are different people, but as far as withholding anything from our city, I promise you, the city council 100% backs what it takes to make this city an awesome city for our community.
Once again, we're visiting with Ward 5 Councilwoman from the city of Meridian, Tybell Lindsay, here on Mornings of Meridian. Kind of want to rewind the clock a little bit here to I can't remember exactly when the meeting was, but of course, we've talked about Chief Deborah Young a good bit on this program, as a lot of other folks have, and her leadership of the Meridian Police Department. I remember at one of the meetings you had brought up that you wanted to bring her salary to zero. I remember that. I don't know how long ago that was, but are you satisfied with the current leadership of the Meridian Police Department?
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. And I'm just talking as a councilwoman and as a mom, as a wife. I don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. I am, if y'all probably even noticed, I haven't brought my child around a lot of activities, like big community activities, because I just don't know. The last one that last Juneteenth I was at, before I even got in office, me and my 3-year-old, she was 3, she's 5 now, was hiding behind a food truck because we thought that, a gunman was there. Mm-hmm. Now they've taken some procedures to, make it safer, but I'm still at ease. I did have a letter sent to me yesterday that was so grateful that I gave them a glimpse of hope, as she does all her shopping online, even her groceries, because she's so scared. She's living in fear, and it broke my heart. And I don't want this community to feel like that. And if they are feeling like that, then it starts from the top. I can't sugarcoat it. There's nothing else to say. I mean, I could say that, are they trying to do their best? Absolutely. But is their best good enough for me? Absolutely not. It's not. I mean, and so it is important that, I see what other cities are doing to help curb crime. There are a lot of measures that could be considered, such as strengthening law enforcement, enhancing communication. That's a big key factor. Investing in education and opportunities and training, these law enforcement and also the community. Promoting community engagement is a vital, for a sense of unity, belonging within our community, and developing youth programs. And there's tons of other things. I could research as far as Denver, Colorado, how they bring in the elderly to make them feel like they're safe, that they can, like they said, you don't want to, not the word snitch, but report things that you see. I could be on TikTok and see a cop answering a door, and a woman is saying, "Oh, here go the cops harassing me because I was doing fireworks, in the middle of the street." And I wanted to inbox her and say, I would love to have some more harassment here. I'm sick and tired of even the little minor things such as litter. I changed the litter ordinance. I mean, you got to have pride back in the community. We got to take care of these little things, such as fireworks. And if they could get away with litter, fireworks, running the red light, oh, my goodness, they'll do whatever. Yeah. These people are out of control. These children are out of control.
Once again, we're visiting with Ward 5 Councilwoman Tybell Lindsay here on Mornings in Meridian. And going back to when you first got in office, and unfortunately, you read comments on social media. I read comments on social media. We all read comments on social media. But since the letter was released yesterday, just been kind of looking at some pages of folks sharing the letter. And the name Chris Reed comes up a lot. Of course, with the vote happen, of course, he was presented to the council as the police chief, and he was voted down. And, of course, eventually Deborah Young was named the police chief. Do you regret that decision at all, going back to when you first got in office?
You know, I don't regret a lot of things that happened in the past, but, I mean, well, the mayor didn't want him. We're just it's just point out, but I only voted for who he truly wanted. Yes, he brought him up, but he didn't want him. And and if he did want him, he would have fought for him. So he didn't fight for him. There you go. And so, with that being said, at least he had a presence. I mean, he has pros and cons himself. I do appreciate being more present. I do appreciate him using social media, talking more. Did he have some hiccups in his very short time that he was here? Absolutely. He did too. I mean, everybody's not perfect. I'm not perfect myself. I think some of the things was with him, it was putting out information. I think they captured a boy that actually didn't do it. It was a lot of, capturing the wrong people and accusing this person when we need to look at that. And also, I was during campaigning I was campaigning during the time he was the chief. Personally, he's a great guy, but professionally, I never experienced hiding behind a food truck with a child until he was a chief. So I don't know if that's a common thing. I think I feel like I was missing out on some things from childhood until, going to college and coming back now with a child. I don't know, but I never experienced that. So the person that put me in that fear is the consequences led to that. And then the Highland Park incident, I was actually headed to Highland Park when I heard that they were shooting during Percy Bland big last event. And that broke my heart as well. He was the chief. So I do believe in corporate America. I've worked in corporate America from St. Louis, Florida, Chicago. I've lived in certain places. It starts from the top. So if there's hiccups, it doesn't matter if I like you, a family, a friend, if big mistakes like that happen, you have to go. So he had to be dismissed, and now we're at our new chief, and I don't like the direction either. So unfortunately, it's time to make change. But the mayor makes that change. I can't do anything but be a voice for the people that I was elected to do.
Tybell, we've talked a lot on the radio about the success of the Sheriff's Department here, and I think that you can look at all of the county agencies and city agencies and say that the shining example of a successfully run department is the Sheriff's Department in Lauderdale County. And a lot of folks have called in, a lot of our callers have said, why not use the Sheriff's Department more for policing in the city, and why is there not better cooperation between the two entities? And, let's pull out all the stops, and let's not worry about egos and territory and all that kind of stuff, and let's start solving the problem. And the Sheriff's Department seems to be an available resource to use in that regard. What are your thoughts about, I'm not saying a takeover of the police department by the Sheriff's Department, although that has been put on the table by several callers, but how can we facilitate that kind of cooperation between the two entities?
Well, honestly, I am big on partnering. Can it be stronger? Absolutely. It's a lot of egos, it's a lot of pride, and I think that gets in the way of taking care of business. And another reason why, just a little go back with the Chris Reed as well as our current chief, I am big on moving forward. I feel that we could get a better chief. one that is more that will bring the community and unite them and make sure that even the small problems are taken care of, as well as, and then hopefully we won't get the big problems. But as far as having researching, seeing what other communities doing, and partnering with our sheriff department, that will be so helpful because they're over the whole entire county. I do not want them to take over. I am a Meridianite and born, raised, and I believe we could do the best job as well. So if we have the best person in leadership that knows how to partner with our sheriff and other different, it doesn't matter if you state or other cities, constantly trying to find out better solutions to protect and keep our communities safe. That is very important. So for them to not do those type of things, that is a sadness. It's misfortune. You're not going to exhaust all your resources to make sure that we have a safer community. And if you are, the results I can't tell, and the community can't tell. So we have to go in a different direction. We can find the best leadership for this community to make this community safe. And I believe wholeheartedly that it will happen. If they just take a page from the sheriff department, take a page from another chief, take a page from another sheriff, that's all you have to do. And then implement those ideas to make a strong, safe community for Meridian.
Once again, we're visiting with Tybell Lindsay here on Mornings of Meridian. She city councilwoman from Ward 5. Of course, we've talked about the grand jury report a pretty good bit, and of course, it's not painted a very great picture of the Meridian Police Department, and but there are steps being taken with body cameras. I know that you guys had the work session yesterday. We talked about that. We actually played some audio clips from the meeting yesterday, especially with the President, Joseph Norwood, talking about the process with the body camera. So it looks like that is trending in the right direction.
Yay. I'm excited about that. That's really great. I think because and also training, more detective training, more. If we got to send them to New York to get training, I don't care. California, LA. I mean, I don't think that we have all the answers. I don't even have the answers. I'm constantly talking to other council people from all over the country. And I mean, when I meet somebody and then we click, I want to know, what are you guys doing that I could bring to make our city better? And so I don't like how that's another thing that kind of disturbed me. It was painted as if we're holding back money that, for them to not get their job done. They have money. That's another thing. You also have to be good at budgeting. When you're a department head, you have to be great at budgeting, to be honest with you. So if you can't even do that, just because you do a good job, some people are good employees. They're not great as being a leader. They don't have all the answers, and then their egos get in the way and think that they have all the answers. And then when they get called out, they point fingers. No accountability, and I'm just tired of it.
Of course, I have to give you this too. You are awfully brave to put your number out there, but you want folks to you want the community. You want to speak with the community instead, like you said in your letter. Rather, you don't want people just to put stuff out there on social media. You want to have a conversation, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling you, I get on social media and I try not to, but it's
hard.
Oh my goodness, it is so hard. If y'all notice from the time how much I used to post to now how much I post, is because I've had people tell me to get off that little blue button because I end up starting to going off in a way on social media, and that is so not like me. I usually try to be positive. I usually try to be happy and have good vibes, but I see these narratives that has been brought on social media like it's a soap opera. Like the worst thing I can't stand is for anybody. It doesn't matter if I was in office or anybody else in office. If I leave today, I cannot stand when someone say a council person do not care. As a current council member, I'm going to tell you, for anybody in the country, if you run for city council, you 100% care. You have a love for your community, and I see that a lot. That kind of irks me, and I say, you know what? I can't address everybody, and I just said, let me put my number out. You call me because I'm not fit to keep talking on social media. That's not how to handle business. It's not professional, and I just really want to know, what is your thoughts? What do you think? Because I'm working for the people. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of people call me, and I'm just their voice. They're like, what are you supposed to do? We're actually elected to take care of the budget, create ordinances, policies that the administration needs to hear by. We're the people's voice of the ward. That's why you have 5 of us. Mm-hmm. So everybody's like a little mini mayor of their ward in a way. Mm-hmm. And then we, as a mayor, what they need to do, and this is for the next mayor or the current mayor or any mayor in the country, it doesn't matter. As a leader, you take the advice and make sure the needs are met of all the council members, because they really do care. They put their families on the line, their friends, themselves, to really do a good job, and their heart is in a good place, for they want to serve the community. And so if we just get someone that just comes and just make sure they listen to us, take care of the needs, and they'll get some of the goodies that they want.
Before we let you go here, we're right up on top of break here at 8 o'clock. You mentioned in your letter, too, about working on ordinances and some policies.
Yeah.
Can you give us any kind of a hint, or is that something that's still in the works?
Okay. Well, yes, I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Because if I'm not on the right direction, hopefully people that hear this radio or call me, they can, add to it or take away. Say, for instance, ordinance. I did the ordinance where I upped the ante when it came to litter. Mm-hmm. I feel like if we could at least see pride, that would help. And that's been outdated so long. And we never had signs. I saw it being done in other cities, so I implemented that. So that's a coincidence. That's an example of ordinance. Some people say, oh, we have bigger problems than litter, but I still believe if you take care of the little things, like I need people, especially children, not to even want to throw a bubblegum wrapper out the window. I'm sorry, it's radio. I definitely do not want to throw in a bullet out the window. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I want these little things taken care of. I get so frustrated over, these things escalated. And so they do these little crimes, and then they go and do these bigger crimes. I need them to know there's consequences for these crimes, and you should be very scared. We are not playing. Second of all, as far as the policies, I do feel that we need to implement more the way we do some of our contracts. If we could implement more DBEs, more maybe minority, because most of the city is made up of minority population. If we allow them to have a seat at the table, if they don't have all their paperwork done, let's work together and say, hey, brother, let me see what paperwork you need to fill out. Okay, let's fill this out, so therefore we could get these contracts together. That would make a more unified force, where maybe the children of these parents won't go robbing something if mom and dad are now having their own businesses is being fruitful, or they're actually bringing in money. I want our community to become entrepreneurs. I want them to start, building things of their own. I think if we all help each other, unite together. So some of these people that they have all the answers, they know how to get the contracts, they know how to get the deals, they know how to get the government paperwork and stuff like that. So therefore they could get these big old deals and contracts. Well, there's other people that just really don't know, and so it's like it's called disadvantaged business enterprises, and so let's help them bring them to the table so they both could eat, and we could try to lessen poverty. A lot of this crime that's going on, it also starts because of poverty. There's no jobs. There's a lot of businesses. There's not no big companies or manufacturers. So we could constantly, if we can have an avenue where we're educating our children, we're teaching families how to be entrepreneurs, how to get contracts. So the policies would pretty much just read that DBEs, we're going to make sure that they have an opportunity at the table to get some of these contracts to build up the community. Other policies would just be in line of that. Anything that would make a unified community.
Very good. Well, Tybell Lindsay, a councilwoman from Ward 5, we appreciate you being on the show this morning, and appreciate your letter, too, of voicing your concerns for the city of Meridian. I'll tell you what, can we get you on again at some point?
You could absolutely get me on again.
Good deal.
I think it was very helpful for the community to hear true facts of what's going on. I think being quiet wasn't helping at all because our community was suffering, and then they was leading into a narrative being put out by people opinions that was so not true. Yeah. And I want the people to know that the city council love this city wholeheartedly, and that do we make mistakes? Yes. Some people think that we should have kept this department head or we should have kept that department head. Maybe we should have, but maybe we should not. But I do feel if we continue to unite together, we would get it right as long as you keep being progressive, for thinking, innovative. You could get the best positions, filled by the right qualified people.
Well, my friend, appreciate you being on with us this morning, and we'll visit again real soon, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. Be blessed. Take care.
Absolutely. Tybell Lindsay, councilwoman for Ward 5 for the city of Meridian. Charles, just your quick reaction before we get to break here.
Well, I think she made a lot of great points. What I love that she said, which I agree with, is start with little things. Once you let the little things go, then the big things go as well. So, but I mean, I love the passion. She loves the city, and it shows.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and then we'll get your reaction on the other side from Tybell Lindsay here on Mornings of Meridian. Our number, 601-485-9191. We will be back in just a couple of minutes.
We'll be back.
on the program just a few moments ago. Of course, very pointed letter that we talked about earlier that she released yesterday. So appreciate Tybell Lindsay for being on the program earlier. And our phone lines are already
Lighten up.
lighting up.
Like Christmas in here.
601-485-9191. I know we got some advertisers we got to pay off, but let's go ahead and get to these busy phones. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Merry Christmas.
Oh,
yeah.
and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
I'll be quick. I'm glad to hear her say crime was the number one issue, and she confirmed something I've said for quite a while now, that Jimmy Smith didn't want Reed, even though he put him up before the board. I think they'd worked out a deal. They were going to vote against him, and she when she started talking about minorities getting contracts and parents being entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
As a crime prevention measure, she kind of lost me on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But one thing that was not addressed, and I had hoped it would be, was the money that the city council removed from the police budget. Now, did I dream that, or?
That was mentioned by the mayor on the program when we had him on previously, yes.
Well, my thought would be,
she alluded to it.
She alluded to it, and I think she alluded to it not specifically saying money from the police budget, but basically in generalities that she was accusing the mayor's office of being incorrect on that.
Right, that they didn't take the money. I think that they didn't spend the money, so it goes back into a fund. Now, the police department obviously has access to that because they've asked for that, the RFP on the cameras and everything like that, which was about the same amount as the salary designated funds that the council took back.
But what she's talking about with the camera is drug fund, and that's what Norwood said as well.
Yeah, that's what Joseph Norwood said.
The 600,000.
They're not talking about the budget.
He said drug seizure funds.
Okay,
right.
All right, then my mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wondered, why they took that money and what's been done with that money, and just a thought. But anyway, glad she came on. She made some good points, and I think she is concerned about my hometown. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jim. All right, 601-485-9191. While we have a chance here, let's go ahead and thank our friends over at Doc's Toyota. Well, up in Philadelphia, a short drive up to Philly.
Just a short drive up. That's right, Doc's Toyota on Highway 16 West in Philadelphia. They have all kinds of Toyota inventory, everything 2023, Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Tundras, Corollas, Highlanders, you name it, Toyota makes it. They've got it, and they got plenty of them as well. And also pre-owned inventory. They've got a huge selection, of pre-owned cars, and all of those have been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection, and so it's a good quality car. There is no deal like a Doc's deal, so go up there and see them. Of course, if you want to try a car before you buy, rent one for a week, see if you like it, and when you do, go buy one at Doc's, because there's no deal like a Doc's deal. And their website's great. They list all their inventory, docstoyota.com.
All right, let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, morning, sir.
Well, your last guest, that's how come we're the sewer of the South.
What was that again?
We're the sewer of the South.
Sewer of the South.
I wish to get Zane back on there and tell which councilman he was talking to that said when Chris Reed got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Council person told him, that was y'all's chief. That's not my people's chief. I don't know which one. I think it was her, but I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
All right. 601-485-9191 is our number. Yeah, we did talk about, I felt like we had to ask that because going back in time when this council first got into office, and I say the entire council, it was almost the entire council. The only face that was left over from the previous administration, I guess the previous council rather, was George Thomas, and the vote to not retain Chris Reed was a 4-1 vote, and Tybell Lindsay was one of those, and she gave her reasons for the vote, and she's not in support of the current chief. She made that very clear as well. Yeah. So let's go back to the phone again. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
I just want to answer a question that was raised by the previous caller before the last one.
Yes, sir.
And it was that money had been taken by the council and from the police department. And there seemed to be some misunderstanding. The money that was taken was from salaries of proposed or expected new hires. And it was not taken until February, after the first 4 months of the old budget. So it was money, and as current President Norwood says, you can't go back and pay people from October through January because you can't hire them and put them to work back in October when it's February. So that's the only money that was taken because it could not be spent. But there was still plenty of other vacancies because I don't think they've got more than 50 policemen in the office right now, and there's no major effort to hire more. I mean, there may be some effort, but there's not a crash effort.
Yeah,
which is what's really needed.
And Tommy, I think that they would be wise to take some of those funds. I know there were salaries that weren't paid, obviously, so those funds wouldn't be used for anything because they were earmarked for salaries that there were no positions filled. But if they took a percentage of those, even like 10, 15%, and said, okay, we're doing a marketing campaign. We need officers. We're doing what we can to go out there and recruit them. And that would be well spent in order to, up the police force.
I could not agree more, Charles. That is money that they have. The problem is they have it in legislative, in their area of that they are in charge of.
Right.
I'm not certain that the council is able to initiate spending propositions. They are responsible for monitoring and overseeing the funds. But I don't know enough to know. But I can tell you this. Had the caller that was questioning the money having been taken from the police department been at some of the meetings, of which I attend most of, you would understand exactly what had happened. It was money that could not be spent in the manner in which it was budgeted before the beginning of the fiscal year. That is something I just felt like needed to be cleared up.
Okay. All right.
But it helps to go to those meetings. I wish there were more of the citizens attending the council meetings, even the work sessions.
I don't think it helps. It doesn't help your sanity, though, does it? That's for sure.
Well, everything is set up so poorly in there. There does not appear to be an interest to be citizen friendly.
Well, I will say this. We were sitting here the previous meeting, the morning meeting, because obviously we get done with our show at 9, and we'd love to come to the morning meetings, but we try to watch it online. Can't understand anything that's being said because the audio is so awful in that room.
Well, I have raised that issue in notes that I send to the council just because it's hard to communicate in that arena when they give a citizen speak in 3 minutes.
Sure, it's too bad we don't have like a world-class audio company based here in Meridian or anything.
Well, they used to have it filmed. MCC was in charge, and it was on Comcast on Channel 12, if I remember.
You're right,
and you could hear it, and it was, and they had the microphones set up and the cameras set up where you could see and hear people, and it was so much better. What's being done now is it's being recorded by phone, and I'm watching them sitting there, and they'll turn a camera here and there, but the acoustics in that huge room just are not conducive to allowing people to be heard properly, if they talk into the microphone, sometimes it's loud, but it gets muffled.
Well, I mean, Tommy, they have. You ever seen the UN, the main room for the UN meetings? Humongous, huge, you might say, and so and you're right. The acoustics are not great, but there are ways around that. I mean,
I know there are, but probably not by filming it with a telephone.
With your iPhone 6 or something,
something like that. That's way over my head, Charles.
Right, I got you.
I still use a flip phone because I'm old. But anyway, that
Old
was
school.
the message.
I got you. All right.
But thank you so much.
All right, appreciate you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. 601-485-9191. You know, I should have raised that question too with Ty, but it is bad, man. I'm sorry. I mean, there's no excuse in that.
Sure, and it's a disservice to the public. I mean, if we can't hear what's going on or see what's going on, then how open are the meetings?
And then of
You
course
have to actually go and attend.
and when stuff like that happens, when the audio is so poor, you go back to watch and you can't understand anything that's going on, and then people start to talk on social media, like we just talked about with Tybell Lindsay, about, well, they must not want us to know anything that's going on. What are they up to?
Transparency.
And then that whole brush fire starts.
Sure.
So you kind of do it to yourself when you don't have the proper tools in place. So, just saying. So let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Well, it's me again. And
All right.
I appreciate Tommy calling in with the explanation.
Yeah.
But it begs the question, were other departments in the city done the same way?
That's a good question.
And I'll hang up on that.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hope for an answer.
Okay.
Well, and my response to that would be probably, but is Parks and Rec one of those that we're looking at with, under the microscope, saying what's going on with their funding and what's going on with their staffing? Yeah, no. I know that Parks and Rec did have some issues with overtime and not being able to pay some employees and that sort of thing. Which seems to me to be sort of an odd situation because they were talking about how the grass is growing, which we know grows every year.
Sure.
Sometimes different rates, but pretty much
You don't say.
It's every year. Yeah, get out there and cut the grass every year. But yeah, taking those funds back because it was money that should have been spent that wasn't, and there's no way to spend that on the designated or earmarked way that it should have been spent, then I suppose it does go back. But does it go back into a legislative fund, or should it go back into a police general fund for future investment or equipment or whatever that would be? And I guess that's the question. Why would it go back into just a general fund? And that may be just the structure of the council.
I've got 9.6 million questions.
9.6 million. Yeah.
Hey, caller, good morning to you.
Yeah, guys. What was I didn't get to hear the part when you asked her if she regretted voting against Chief Reed. What was her answer on that?
She said that the mayor put Chris Reed up, but that he really didn't want to. He really didn't fight for him to be the chief, and that was what she thought. And she
didn't like it. She didn't like him. That was expected.
Yeah, and she said basically, Charles, I'm just kind of paraphrasing here. She said there was a lot of pros and cons with Chris, and she kind of went through some of those. So.
Okay. All right. I am going to correct her on one thing. People are not turning to crime because there are no jobs. All right, that's a major that lies over with. When you got every convenience store in town and all around, and every Dollar General and a whole lot of other places now hiring. Well, you know what the people, you know that unemployment, you can't find anybody to work. So you saved the deal about they're turning to crime because they can't find a job. That was a one-time liberal spout, but that's over with now. And let me ask you something. What is Norwood and the supervisors talking about buying body cams? What's it got to do with the city? They're buying them for the city?
No, this is the city council that's doing that. Joseph Norwood's the president of the city council. Yeah, they're buying them for the Meridian. Yeah, they're buying the body cameras with drug seizure funds with the Meridian Police Department.
Okay, here's one thing, and I wish we could have asked her. When Bland took office, he ended the drug task force cooperation with the county.
Sure did.
Everybody, we're going to get with the county. Well, when it benefits the city, they all for it. But when it might help folks in the county, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Now, the state may have gotten back in the drug task force, but the sheriff asked him a lot on the station. He was very disappointed, being that most of the drugs was inside the city, was that the city refused to fully fund the drug task force. So I wonder if that's changed. And you want to do something about crime, get back in there with the sheriff on the drug task force. That's a major thing you could do right now.
Well, Chuck, and I'll be honest with you, if I had to guess, I'm probably going to say that's a no on them being a part of that.
Well, why?
Yeah, that's a hell of a question.
Right now,
yeah.
Staffing,
Yeah.
if nothing else. But, yeah, they
Well,
should
got
get back into it.
$9 million and they can't help out. And like I say, most of the drugs are coming from the city, so they should be totally involved in
I agree.
the task force. And listen, and drugs is the main reason for most crime also. So that's one that's one thing you could do right there. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, appreciate it. There we go. So, and of course, we talked about, what was it, back on Monday, whenever they made the arrest of the 16-year-old over the weekend. I mean, the Meridian Police Department put out there that, most of these crimes are being committed by juveniles.
Yeah.
So you've got the juvenile issue where they're committing the crimes, and can't discount the drug problem either. So, but and of course, the sheriff has been on here before, Billy Solly, and talked about, the number of drug arrests that have been made, that have been presented from the city compared to the county, and the numbers are staggering. I mean, it is so lopsided, it's ridiculous.
It's like 1,000 to literally 4.
It is a big lopsided number, but. Yeah, when that decision happened, that was a pretty big deal right there. Getting out of the drug task force. But yeah, the Chris Reed issue, I think that's one that people just continue to go back to, and I get
a dead issue now.
And I get why people feel the way they feel because of the current situation with the current chief we have, and I get that. So
I understand too, but that's not what we're facing right now.
Yeah,
and let's try to move on and improve what we've got, instead of just rehashing that over. But I do understand that people are still a little salty about it. But anyway, I think that moving forward is the way to go.
Yeah, and when we asked the question regarding, basically the way I phrased it was, do you regret the vote you made? Because the vote went 4-1, 5 representatives on the council, and the 4 new ones that came on voted against the appointment of Chris Reed.
And that was one of the first things they did.
I mean, literally,
it was they were all new, all brand new. It was kind of I don't know, I wouldn't characterize it as a rookie mistake necessarily, but it was certainly. I think that there should have been a little more diligence done and research.
Can I just go ahead and say it like it is on that? With the reaction, the answer we got from Tybell Lindsay on that issue, she said that the mayor really did not fight for Chris Reed to get that position. He appointed him. Was that more of a political decision on Jimmy Smith's part to appease some of the supporters he had during the election, saying they would ask him, hey, I'll vote for you. Are you putting Chris Reed up as chief? And he said, yeah. So technically he did. Now, whether Tybell Lindsay, I'm not saying she's right or wrong. She's told us what she thought, said the mayor didn't fight for that individual. So you got 2 different equations working. But like I said, it's in the past. That was more politics, I think, than anything.
Let's fix the problem we've got now.
Yeah.
And you can't undo that.
No,
so,
what's done is done.
Right.
So, and I think we just need to look forward. I mean, it kind of is what it is. But she did make one thing abundantly clear, and that is she does not like the trajectory of the police department right now under the current leadership. And she made that very clear. And she made that very clear in the past when she put before the council that she wanted to put the police chief's salary at 0. So I don't think that her feelings toward the current chief is anywhere. That there's no gray area there on that one. So whatsoever. So, but you gotta love local politics and local government. It's fun. 601-485-9191. Big thanks going out to they know how to do things right, and that's Ready to Roof. And folks, they'll put a nice looking roof on your house, and got good looking signs too, just as good as some of the corner candidates.
Oh, I might say even better. Yep. Ready to Roof, only award-winning local roofing company. Of course, they've qualified as Master Elite Certified Roofers. Sounds pretty fancy, and it is. Only 2% of all roofing companies in the nation have qualified as that. And you just call them for your free estimate, 601-573-1150. They'll work with your insurance company. They give you a free estimate. And, of course, you make that appointment online as well if you like. Ready2roof.com.
All right, very
Give him
good.
a call.
Absolutely. Appreciate him at Ready to Roof. We did mention earlier about Joseph Norwood, the Ward 3, the council president, did make some comments about the body cams that the city is purchasing. This is via WTOK from last night.
In today's work session, the police presented us the details information of body cameras, of how much it's going to cost, and how soon that they can get them ordered. And with that, we just asked them to present us a RFP so we can put it out for bid. And they have the funding already in the police department with the drug seize funds. So they already have the money. It's just a matter of us getting 2 bids and finalizing it.
Once again, the price tag on this, just to be clear on this, 80 body cameras, 9 car cameras. The police department proposes a 5-year plan costing the department $600,000 for the new camera system. This would cost the department $129,000 in the first year and $106,000 in the second year. The police department has told the council that they will give them the RFP, which is known as a request for proposal, and they'll get that to them as soon as possible. So that's the info on that end of it.
And then that to me is odd because I'm pretty sure there's not 80 police officers.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, we don't know, but we think it's about half that, if not less.
You go back after an interview, you're like, man, I should have asked that.
Well, that's right. We can hopefully we'll have her on next month, and we can talk to her about that then.
Let's go back to the phone. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Hey, I come in peace.
Hey.
I love everyone, and there's nothing you can do
Well,
about it.
there
Not a
he
darn
is.
thing.
How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I'm back here in you guys' crosshairs for a couple of months,
All right.
and I was just listening at Councilman Bell, and I have had a couple of talks with her.
Yes, sir.
And one thing she's focused on is putting qualified peoples with degrees and experience into positions instead of just friends of peoples or friends of friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm listening to her. I'm excited about Meridian. And, you know, just from that part, I'm seeing things moving. I enjoyed Mr. Tommy Williams calling in. And this sort of just, I don't know, it seems like the momentum getting ready to shift. Don't know whether it is or not, but at least we got people to the table talking about it now. For the longest time, people wasn't even, you know, bringing up these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my 2 cents worth. I'm just happy to be back home, and this is my home, and I do live in the city.
Very good.
So,
Well, all right, my friend, we're going to let you run. We're up against a break here, so
oh, all right then.
appreciate you. All right, 601-485-9191. We'll take a break. We'll join Fox News in progress.
For the year ending in June, the CPA
Just another day in paradise.
That's what we're facing. How hot's it going to be today?
4 circles of hell today.
Only 4.
Only
That's
4
not bad.
today.
I'll take it. Yeah. Okay.
601-485-9191. Welcome back into the show. I'm Rob, along with Charles Frazier here
Yep.
on this Wednesday morning. Of course, online right now at WALTMeridian.com. And while you're visiting WALTMeridian.com, don't forget to register for our Star, Stripes, and Sizzle sweepstakes. Got just a few more days to get your name in the hat for the big drawing for that Blackstone 2-burner 22-inch grill that we're going to be giving away next week here on Mornings in Meridian.
How many times can you register?
That would be a legal department question.
That would be 1 time. Okay.
The legal department frowns on multiple
Darn.
registrations.
Okay.
So, just click on the logo whenever you go to the homepage, and then you just submit your just a small bit of information, submit, and you're in. It's that
Boom.
easy.
Yep,
So
and you're cooking all summer.
Yep, WALTMeridian.com to register for our Stars, Stripes, and Sizzle sweepstakes. Also, big thanks to our friends over at A&A Glass, folks. If you're looking to get that rock peck squared away before it spreads, or if you got to get that complete windshield replacement, they're the folks to go see.
That's right. They've been the #1 glass replacement company here in town 10 years running. Adam and Adam got it going on down there at 22nd Avenue, 217 22nd Avenue, just 2 doors down from the Meridian Children's Museum. And, of course, they're happy to, well, are they happy to work with your insurance company? I'm not happy to work with my insurance company, so they've got to be happy to do it. And they'll beat any price in town. So good folks, open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. A&A Glass, number's easy to remember, 601-693 Glass.
I like it.
Yes, indeed. I like them. Good folks. Adam and Adam got it going on.
Yep, I'm a satisfied customer like a lot of folks in Meridian
Me too.
are. So, just want to pass this note along from the Mississippi Department of Transportation. They announced a ramp closure is in effect until July 31st at the intersection of Highway 494 and Highway 19 in Lauderdale County due to construction. A right turn can be made from Highway 494 onto Highway 19, but no left turn. Nor can a turn be made from Highway 19 onto Highway 494 while the work is in progress. Detour signs are in place. MDOT is asking drivers to slow down and be alert for crews working in the area and for changing traffic conditions. So once again, that is right around the intersection of Highway 494 and Highway 19 in the county. They're going to have that ramp closure in effect until the end of the month. So there you go, July 31st.
Okay.
So there you go. So,
All right.
So we got a lot of construction going on. We mentioned some of that going on 39 too, where Mississippi Power is putting those poles in tomorrow.
Yeah, that's from Woodstock down to, I guess, about the coke plant.
Yep. So they're doing some work there. So there's a lot of work going on all over the place. So I know a lot of teenagers driving, obviously, with summer still rolling, with school being out. Just be aware of that as you're doing your thing around town.
As
so
you're speeding and texting.
Yeah, exactly.
What? No, don't do that.
It never ends. So let's go back to the phone line. We got a couple of them ringing up here. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, the way to get on 494 is to run up to Collinsville, turn out by the Piggly Wiggly, and it will bring you right on to 494 if you need to get there. Thanks a lot, guys.
There we go. There we go. Magellan calling in this morning. I like
That's
it.
Yep.
But anyway, did get a chance to watch the Major League Baseball All-Star game last night. The National League won for the first time in 9 tries. They had a 9-game losing streak, and they won last night. I believe the final, 3-2 was the final score last night. So former Mississippi State product Brent Rooker got a double in the ball game last night for the American League, and so the National League won that game last night 3-2. The Midsummer Classic goes that way.
Okay.
And it was kind of a cool game. They had the ceremonial first pitch, and of course Ken Griffey Jr. showed up to do that along with Edgar Martinez. So that was kind of a neat deal for the Seattle Mariners. So the Midsummer Classic is now in the books.
And when does the NFL preseason start? It's got to be about 2-3 weeks, huh?
Yeah,
Late July, early August.
Well, see, they've kind of trimmed down the preseason a little bit, so it's not quite as long as it used to be.
Okay.
So usually it's around the first part of August.
Okay.
So training camps will get going. So, but yeah, football is almost here.
Clock's ticking.
It's almost here. So, but anyway. Of course, yesterday we talked a good bit about the cocaine case up at the White House. I have not heard anything new on that, so I think that's kind of been put to bed for right now. So at least until Thursday.
I wish it would be put to bed. I mean, that there's so much incompetence in that whole administration that focusing on that kind of takes you away from looking at the important stuff. It's a distraction. It's almost like a red herring. You wonder if it was planted there. Hey, don't pay attention to Joe. Let's talk about cocaine instead.
Yeah. So, but
Anyway.
but right now, I think the latest update we're going to get on that story is going to be they said tomorrow, but of course today is all about the testimony of Christopher Wray, the FBI director. He's going to be grilled pretty hard today. So he's going to testify up on Capitol Hill today. So, and Fox actually released a little bit of a leak of his opening statement, which I thought was kind of strange that they were able to get their hands on that. But obviously, exactly where the committee is going to go as far as the FBI being weaponized. And, of course, preferential treatment toward the Biden family. And, of course,
you think?
Trump will be brought up a pretty good bit today, I imagine.
Yep.
So
with disdain.
So that's going to be covered a lot today. And I'm pretty sure Clay and Buck are going to cover that a pretty good bit because I think the testimony is going to begin here very shortly up on Capitol Hill. So we'll see what Mr. Ray's got to say today.
Okay. I'll wait for the recap.
Yeah, because it's going to be covered like you know what. So, but anyway, 601-485-9191. And folks, before we take our next commercial break, got a few more bills to pay before we get out of here this morning. We need to thank our friends at the Magnolia Restaurant at the Queen City Truck Stop. Folks, daily lunch specials there just off of exit 150, and you can always start your day with some hot breakfast and some good coffee down there at the Magnolia Restaurant.
That's right. They've got the long haul breakfast, and even if you're not a long haul truck driver, that thing will keep you going all day long. And as you said, the coffee is hot, the AC is cold, and the service is friendly. Wednesday, chicken and dumplings. Man, how good does that sound? Of course, they got fried or grilled pork chops, chicken tenders, fried chicken, hamburger steak with onions and gravy, and, of course, they always got the veggie plates. That is the Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop. Get something to go as well. Give them a call, 601-482-0259.
All right, let's go back to the phone line before we go to a commercial break here on Mornings in Meridian. Hey, caller, welcome in.
I'm sorry for being Jimmy Slay and calling.
Oh, Jimmy. I'm about to say, who's going to get the most calls in today?
Ooh, it's a
I
competition.
will beat him today.
That you are.
Right.
If in a country one political group can use the country's law enforcement agency against another political group, then you no longer have a country, right?
Yeah.
So why do we expect any national election to be fair? The law enforcement is going to back the cheaters 100%. So we basically sitting here without a country, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, Christopher Wray, as we said, is going to be testifying up on Capitol. Of course, he's the FBI director. He will look to defend the work of the FBI during testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, which is headed up by Jim Jordan. And that's going to take place here in just a few minutes. Of course, an FBI spokesperson told Fox News Digital that Wray is expected to focus his remarks on the good work of the FBI to protect the American people and the professionalism, patriotism, and dedication to the public service of FBI employees. He is also expected to discuss the sheer, impact of the work of the Bureau's more than 38,000 employees do each day, because the work the men and women of the FBI do to protect the American people goes way beyond the one or two investigations that seem to capture all the headlines.
Well, and I think that, the guys on the streets, they're working hard and probably have a lot of integrity. But, the FBI from J. Edgar Hoover on down, it's they've had some agendas,
I'm just wondering why they decided that the FBI needed to get involved in school board meetings with parents.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's more than that one or two investigations that he's referring to.
Yeah.
So just a thought, just food for thought there. Yes. So, but some of his testimony is already leaked online that he'll give coming up in just a few minutes. But I'm pretty sure Jim Jordan is going to be he's going to be a pit bull up there today, like he always is, the head of the Judiciary Committee. So we'll be covering that a pretty good bit here on WALT throughout the day. So, folks, we're going to take our final break of the day, pay off those bills, and we'll be back.
American ride.
It is sometimes a bumpy ride, but we still love it. It's the American Ride.
That's right.
Little Toby Keith here on Mornings in Meridian. 601-485-9191. Of course, another big thanks to Councilwoman Tybell Lindsay for joining us last hour on Mornings in Meridian as we addressed her letter that she published yesterday with her concerns with crime. And she said it, Charles, here on the program, crime is our number one issue right now here in the city of Meridian. So that's coming from one of your council members out there.
Sure,
folks.
an emotional, passionate letter written by her, and I like the fact that she is addressing it and calling it what it is. This is a real problem, and instead of kind of sweeping it under the rug or not giving it the attention that it needs to be given. And so she's certainly doing that, and I think it's hopefully the start of a conversation amongst city council members and also the administration. So, we'll see how it develops.
All right, let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome into Mornings in Meridian.
Yes, I failed to mention yesterday with talking to Charles about hiring security for the homeless and for the crime, actually. That is what we would call the exact definition of taxation without representation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got to pay for security on top of taxes to pay for police officers, that is really, well, it's double taxation. It's basically what it is, but I mean that's the purpose of our taxes.
Regardless of any,
security.
I tell you what, regardless of any increased expense that I have to pay, and if we want to characterize it as taxation, that's fine. I have no representation anyway because I can't vote. I can't vote in the city.
Right.
So there's my lack of representation, regardless of anything else.
Well, that's true. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I think most of us are, aren't we?
Right.
We are, but, herein lies the issue. I mean, we have got to address it. And, I know people talk about it, say that it can't be done and this and that, but I've actually checked on it, and I think it can be done where the county takes over city law enforcement.
Oh.
I believe that can be done.
And of course, we and Charles mentioned that to Tybell Lindsay when we had her on the program last hour, and her answer basically was,
well, now I didn't phrase it as taking over.
Yeah, but
I
it was
phrased it
more
more as a cooperation. And what can we do to kind of facilitate that? The two agencies working together with, ultimately, and I think we all look to it as the county taking over, unless the police department can kind of bounce back and become competent. Anyway.
Well, you've got to have leadership, and morale is gone, from my understanding, and most of the quality candidates also are gone, or quality law enforcement. Let me just say that.
Well, and plus, too, whenever you've got other agencies, and I'll get in, we don't have time to get into this story, but there's agencies around the South that can pay better, and officers are getting recruited for the better pay, and obviously there is that element of better leadership, too, so.
Well, I was told, y'all may know for a fact, but I was told 3 officers last week went over to the sheriff's department from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So we had 15, we've got 12 now.
Boy. We need 80 cameras, though, right?
Yeah, we're getting 80 body cameras, and what was it, 8 or 9 of the car cameras too. So yeah.
We've got to do something though. We talk about it. Everything we've got to make some effort to do something, and not just quit listening to incompetent people, because that's who we got elected, unfortunately, in the city. I don't think that's a stretch. I mean, there may, be some fine individuals, but I mean, they're not competent enough to run the city, period. I'm listening in, guys. I know you got to go. So anyway, thanks for your time.
All right, appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. All right, let's go back to line 2 here on the show. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Hey, guys, thanks for your show.
Absolutely, appreciate you.
I just wanted to add, if the city council had any intelligence between all of them, they would enact a payroll tax, and all you people that live in the county that want to come and work in the city, enjoy my police and my fire protection, would have to pay for it too. And I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
There you go. All right, 601-485-9191. There we go. What do you think about that?
I'm not an advocate for any increased tax. A payroll tax that goes directly to the city if you work in the city. Mm-hmm. I mean, just makes, I don't know. I think that lessens the salary of those working in the city. There is a sales tax, so if you do business in the city, then some of that money does come back to the city. But and I understand what he's saying. I think he's got a good point that if you're going to use the resources and the amenities of the city, then it should be paid for, even if you live in the county. But I think we should eliminate most taxes. I'm not a big fan of adding to anything.
I did get a comment on Facebook Live here from our good buddy Zena. He said, a friend of mine almost hit a homeless man that fell in front of his truck while trying to cross the interstate. It's past time to fix the problem. Wow. So
the homeless issue.
Yeah, going back, we talked about that a little bit yesterday as well. So, but yeah.
Well, so I've got a homeless woman that's been hanging around. She's in a wheelchair near the restaurant. I mean, not she's like a couple of blocks away.
Yeah, she's in the neighborhood.
Right. She's one of our friendly neighborhood homeless people. But so I go up to her and I say, it was one of those days where it was like 130 degrees, and I was like, hey, can I get you a glass of water? And she said, Gatorade and water. And I said, well, I don't have any Gatorade. God, we don't have any in the restaurant. I said, but I'll be happy to get you some water. She said, no, I don't want that. And I said, well, okay then.
Well, fine.
Well, what do you want me to do? I mean, I'm not going to go get...
I will fix you a double stuffed pork chop. Right. No, I actually want triple.
Right. I'd prefer, filet, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is what it is.
But, no, so... but somebody texted you and said that
Yeah, just a message on our Facebook Live feed. Yeah, it was around the interstate yesterday, so trying to cross the interstate.
We laugh about it, but it is a serious issue. And,
yeah.
I don't know that there's a level of harassment that people have talked about. I certainly don't hear that from our guests, nor employees, nor personally do I have any interaction with that. However, these people obviously need help. And, I think a lot of them have mental issues, like they only want Gatorade, not water. But so there's some issues on the bigger scale in the state. What's happening with mental hospitals, and why is a woman in a wheelchair just doesn't make sense to me. So there should be some sort of safety net for them.
All right, final call of the day. We got about 2 minutes left. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Well, real quick, if it wasn't for all those folks out in the county and other counties coming into Meridian to work, there wouldn't be no Meridian. And I guarantee you that all the employers that's having all this trouble finding employees, they don't share that gentleman's same sentiment. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, appreciate that. So there we go. Another comment there. Here as we sitting here at the tail end of the show. But been a busy one today, folks. Appreciate you listening out there this morning. And once again, big thanks to Ty Bell Lindsay for coming on the program this morning from the City Council, of course. We talked about the work session yesterday with the body cameras. That looks like that's in the works. And unfortunately, we did have the man that was found dead yesterday with a gunshot wound to the head, unfortunately. So, but folks, the council knows what the problem is. At least one member has addressed it publicly and said what the main problem is, and that is the crime. And they realize that it is the number one. We had one council member say it.
Right. So well, I'm glad they're saying it. And she said it with passion. I love it. She loves the city, and she wants what's best for it. So, and hopefully we'll have her on again in a month or so, something like that.
There we go.
Great to have her as a regular.
Mayor, love to have you back on again. City, we want you back on here as much as possible.
Right.
Be transparent with our listeners in the community out there, because the more we hear from you, the more we start to build that trust back up.
We exchange ideas. We find solutions.
Yeah.
Well,
folks, have a great day. Glenn Beck is up next, of course, followed by Clay and Buck. Of course, the great Sean Hannity after that, and my man Joe Pax. Charles, have a great day, and say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
And Roger will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what you say.
Allegedly. Folks, have a good one, and be blessed and buy local.
Plasma getting bigger, Jesus getting smaller,